There are 3 simple exercises to write dialogue that will bring your screenplay to a whole new level. Ever since I started doing these exercises, judges in contests have picked out my dialogue as the strongest aspect in my scripts multiple times. So in this video, I'll show you what they are and how you can start using them to instantly level up your writing. Let's start off with the biggest mistake most screenwriters make in their dialogue. This mistake could be ruining your screenplay without you even realizing it. But if you fix it, you'll jump ahead of 90% of other writers.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
To illustrate, I'll show you one of the many cringeworthy lines from Attack of the Clones. Let me be clear though, I love Star Wars, all right? It's one of the greatest stories ever told, but man, the dialogue in the prequels, there's not much to say. Let's break down a scene where Anakin tells Padme that he killed all the Sand People. He starts off by saying,
I killed them.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you.
I killed them all.
Yeah, I'm still with you.
They're dead.
Yes, that is indeed what happens when you kill someone. They die.
Every single one of them.
Okay, Anakin, I get it. Here's the issue. The audience already knows what happened. We saw him kill the Sand People. There's no need to remind us of what we just watched. It's like Anakin is pretty much saying, hey, in case you dozed off for 5 minutes, I just killed all the Sand People and I'm really upset about it. It drags the scene down, and instead of heightening the emotion, it just repeats the same thing over and over again. But there's also another huge mistake with this very scene that's destroying even more screenplays. But if you can fix both of these things, your script will improve drastically. If I was writing the scene myself, I'd have Anakin like moping around in silence, and Padme would like nag at him and like ask what's wrong, and he would refuse to talk about it. Then in frustration, he might snap and like lash out about something completely unrelated, like her hair or something, I don't know. The key mistake in this scene and in a lot of bad dialogue is a lack of subtext. The emotion and what the person is thinking should be underneath the words, not spelled out for us like a kindergarten lesson. So what exercises do you need to do to make sure you don't make these exact mistakes in your own writing?
You have part of my attention. You have the minimum amount.
I'll show you that in a minute, but before we get into them, you need to understand the most important aspect of subtext that truly immerses your audience, because without it, your dialogue will sound flat and your scenes will lack the actual depth that keeps your viewers hooked. I went over subtext in a recent video, so I'll be very brief here. To show you what I mean, let's look at one of my favorite scenes of all time from Breaking Bad. And just a heads up, this is a spoiler, but trust me, it's worth it, because it perfectly captures the power of subtext in storytelling. Remember the scene where Walt is about to let Crazy 8 go, but then he collapses due to his cancer, and he goes unconscious for a couple of minutes. In the process of doing so, he drops a plate on the floor and it shatters into pieces. So when he wakes up, he goes upstairs to make a new sandwich. When he throws the broken plate out, something clicks. He takes all the pieces out of the garbage and he starts putting them back together. And he realizes there's a piece missing. At this point, we don't need anyone to tell us what's going on. It's all in the subtext. Crazy 8, he has that missing piece of the plate and he's planning to use it against Walter, but neither character says a single word about it. That's the beauty of subtext. It lets the audience do the work, piecing things together in a way that's far more engaging than just like blatantly spelling everything out for us. This is exactly the kind of tension and depth you want in your own dialogue. So how do you implement that yourself? Now that you've seen subtext in action, I'll show you how you can start practicing it yourself. This first exercise is something I learned from Paul Schrader, the writer behind Taxi Driver and a lot of other good movies. It is a little unconventional, but that's kind of the point of it. So it forces you to break out of your usual habits so that you write dialogue in a way that you've never even tried before. And it's an incredible way to inject some unpredictability into your dialogue and explore how your character's personalities shift under different circumstances. So what is this exercise? Imagine you have a scene that ends with one character saying, I hate you. but you don't know anything about why he hates him or what he means by that. And also, how does the other character even respond? You know, do they feel the same way? Do they try to make them not hate them? Like, so what's the exercise here? The first step is to take a scene from your script and completely reverse it. And I don't just mean switching the order of the dialogue. Here's how it works. Take the last line of the scene and make it first. But I keep hitting this mic. Here's the real challenge. The new version of the scene has to end with what was originally the first line. But how does this help with your dialogue? It flips the flow of it and it forces you to think in a totally different way. Like suddenly the answers come first and the questions come later. But even though you've made your dialogue more interesting now, it might still lack that crucial depth that actually engages the audience. That's something you can fix by using this next exercise. Subtext isn't something you can just slap on a dialogue. It hurt. It has to emerge naturally, like layers of meaning hidden beneath the surface of what's being said. So let me show you what I mean with another example from Breaking Bad. And I'm just warning you again, spoiler alert. There's a scene where Walter calls Skyler while the police are listening in, like literally 2 feet behind her. He's angry, chastising her and blaming her for everything.
Oh no, Walt, you have to stop. You have to stop this. It's immoral, it's illegal. Someone might get hurt. You're always whining and complaining about how I make my money, just dragging me down while I do everything.
At first, it seems like Walt is condemning Skyler, but once he starts saying things like, you kept yelling at me to stop what I was doing, that it was wrong and illegal, we know that this isn't the case. Skyler wasn't trying to stop him. She was involved in his crime. So why would Walt say any of this? I know that we all hated Skyler and wanted her to go to jail, but this is subtext at its finest. His words say one thing, but the real meaning is buried underneath. If he said what she actually did, she'd be in as much trouble as he was. So he said the exact opposite of what actually happened. If you want more help from me directly on using subtext, sign up for my newsletter down below. So how do you add this level of depth to your own dialogue? Here's the next exercise. If one character secretly loves the other, make them talk about how much they can't stand them. If one character is terrified to enter a creepy house, have them act overly confident about it the whole time. The next time you're writing a scene, have the character say the complete opposite of how they actually feel inside, line for line. And this forces you to think about the hidden layers in your character's psyche and all the nuances that emerge. They can transform the dialogue to feel like dynamic instead of just flat and boring. This last exercise is a little different because it doesn't involve writing any new scenes, but it will make your understanding of subtext so ingrained that you'll start weaving it into your screenplays naturally, like without even meaning to. But by building this as a routine, you'll train yourself to pick up on subtle hidden layers in dialogue or even lack thereof, which will massively improve the depth of your writing. I actually came up with this routine about 3 years ago myself when I was still learning to understand subtext. And since then, I haven't stopped doing it. If you've seen my last video on dialogue, you'll know the moment where subtext really clicked for me was in Crazy Stupid Love. But in case you missed it, here's the scene I'm referring to.
Because I'm in the basement and I'm trying to get the water heater working because the pilot light's out and I don't know how to relight it.
After watching that scene, I realized something very crucial, that Emily didn't need help with the pilot light. She just missed Cal. That was the subtext, her real reason for calling. When this clicked, I immediately wrote it down. I pulled out my phone and I recorded everything I could about that scene, focusing on both the text and the subtext. Here's exactly what I wrote. Movie, Crazy Stupid Love. Text, Emily says the pilot light is out and she needs Cal's help. Subtext, she's not in the basement, she doesn't need help. She just misses him, but can't say it outright because she's the one who divorced him. So she calls him because she wants an excuse to speak with her husband. This simple act of documenting subtext became a very powerful routine for me. Suddenly, I started picking up on subtext that I never would have even thought of before because I was deliberately being conscious of it. It started to show in my dialogue without me ever trying to force it. So how do you apply this yourself? Anytime you watch a movie, TV show, read a book, or even have a conversation in real life, write down moments of subtext. Build a list. I've been building my own for years, and it has transformed the way I write. The more you practice spotting subtext, the easier it becomes to implement those layers into your own scenes. Just to show you how crazy I can get with this, here are some rapid fire examples of mine. TV show, That 70s Show. Text, Jackie, I hate styling wands. Lori, so do I. Hyde, see, you two keep talking. There may be plenty of other things you have in common. Subtext, Hyde knows Kelso is cheating on Jackie with Lori. He's pushing them together in conversation to force a confrontation. Movie, The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Text, Sam, I got my SAT back. Oops. Subtext, she didn't do well, but instead of directly saying it, the oops communicates all this disappointment at once. The more you document these moments, the better you get at identifying subtext, both in other movies and in real life. And as you do, you'll find yourself instinctively adding these layers to your own dialogue without even realizing it. You might actually start to get annoyed at how good you become at picking up people's hidden motivations. But it's gonna help make you a much better writer. So maybe you're feeling excited to go write down all of this subtext and like put these exercises into action. You've got some new tools in your kit and you're ready to master dialogue. But here's the thing, you might still feel like there's something missing. Like there are some key aspects of dialogue that just haven't fully clicked with you yet. I've got you covered there too, because in this video, I dive even deeper into the art of subtext, uncovering the exact techniques that will take your dialogue from good to unforgettable. Plus, I give even more exercises to refine your skills. You can check out this video right here.